The United Nations Liaison Office for Peace and Security in Brussels was created to build a partnership with the European Union globally in order to promote conflict prevention, to keep the peace and to sustain the peace. In addition to the European Union, we also work with NATO on a whole host of technical areas from demining to medical support. Given the challenges faced globally, the complex nature of conflict, the regionalization of conflict, the United Nations cannot solve everything alone, and that's why partnership in line with Chapter 8 of the UN Charter is so important. Our job here in Brussels is to build a partnership with the European Union and others. The European Union is a natural partner for the United Nations. The European Union and the United Nations have different toolboxes at their disposal that work very well together. Let me give an example of in 2013, a sectarian conflict erupted in the Central African Republic that required an international response. In early 2014, the UN Security Council authorized the EU to deploy soldiers to the capital of the Central African Republic to help curtail violence and to support humanitarian access. This EU operation on the ground, which lasted for 9 months, provided an opportunity for the UN peacekeeping operation on the ground to develop and grow. And this type of cooperation between the European Union and the United Nations operationally, which we refer to as a bridging mission, is really an example of how we have worked together. There are 20 UN peace operations globally, from Africa to the Middle East, hosting over 120,000 staff, including blue helmets. In terms of peace operations, the role of the European Union is important. The European Union complements the United Nations in the field. The European Union deploys security sector, training, rule of law missions. All of these missions work in tandem with the United Nations and play an important role on the ground. The UN Liaison Office in Brussels has been supporting UN headquarters in reaching out to the EU and EU member states in asking for more contributions to UN peacekeeping operations, both in terms of troops and also in terms of what we call critical enablers. That is everything from a field hospital to a helicopter. We have seen in recent years the European Union and its member states providing more contributions to UN peacekeeping, and this is warmly welcomed and needed, particularly in places like Mali. Conflict prevention can help save lives and tackle the vicious cycle of conflict. However, conflict prevention does not receive enough attention or financial support because a war that has not happened does not make for compelling news. UN Secretary General Guterres is committed to conflict prevention and is pushing a surge in diplomacy. And indeed, the European Union itself and the European External Action Service, the building behind me, has an important role to play in this regard. In supporting conflict prevention and preventive diplomacy, the UN Liaison Office in Brussels makes sure that there is good coordination and partnership between the European Union and the United Nations on conflict prevention.